I don't know. I don't want to be scared. Well, okay, I'll say this. So a year ago on the 16th, which was the 16th last Monday. Yeah, so a year ago last Monday. Today's Monday the 23rd. We flooded, and for a week we were an island here in our neighborhood. Couldn't get in, couldn't get out except by airboat. And that was a really, really scary feeling. And it was terrifying for the first probably 2 to 3 days because we didn't know if our house was going to flood. Once we knew the water had peaked and we weren't in danger of our house flooding, just our backyard, we, you know, it was just weird and surreal to be stranded and not be able to get out. We couldn't get Maddie back up to school. Brian couldn't go to work. We couldn't go to the grocery store. And our whole neighborhood was in the same boat. There were about 200 houses out here in this lake community. And so people were just sharing food, and, you know, I had cereal for somebody, but they had milk for us, and, you know, just that sort of thing. And it was weird because in the rest of the world, I have a really close friend who lives 2 miles from us. It was bone dry. And nothing, you know, they weren't flooding, and we couldn't get to each other. She couldn't come help. We kept getting calls from people. How can we help? What do you need? We'll bring it to you. Well, you can't get in. That's the problem. So that was it was kind of a terrifying time. And looking back on it, you know, we sort of dealt with it in the moment, and it was worse. I'm going to open my office door so that the puppy can go out. Because you can hear Baxter down there barking to go outside. But it was a really terrifying time because we felt isolated and alone. This feels long-term, if I let myself be afraid, scarier than that. It feels less isolating because we're all in the same boat. And you know, that, again, that's kind of like, I'm not in the same boat as my friends who are nurses and doctors. So it feels, you know, but we're all experiencing this, whatever it means to us individually. But I'm kind of refusing to give in to the fear of it. Or at least trying to. And I don't know, a lot of that has to do with my faith. And I was thinking about this today. You know, we all have different faiths. And I have some very, very close friends who do not believe in God. But they have obviously something that is, you know, helping them get through this as well. I'm saddened by how this has been politicized. I don't know if that's the right word, by our government, and how our government has acted, and many, many people in our government have acted in regards to this, and really people on both sides. But I'm really so proud of the way that individuals have acted. And I think that, you know, I think that we'll come out of this better. I really do. Maybe not our government, but in general, I think the human race will come out of this better and more compassionate, more understanding. For me, the hardest part is not knowing. And so I keep up, you know, I try to limit my news watching. Kind of morning, noon, night, I peek in. But I do look at the numbers. And I'm not really a math person, but basic numbers make sense to me. So, you know, and ratios and percentages make a lot of sense to me. That's a lot of what I do in my job. And so like seeing, a bar chart or a graph that shows what's happening, even if it's bad news, I'm better off if I know and understand than if I don't know. I think for me, the scariest part of this is that we don't know how long this is going to last. And when it's over, is it going to reoccur? I've kind of heard that could happen. And so that's the part that I'm having to sort of fight. But, all in all, I think, so we do what we can, and for everybody that looks different. I'm in the process of making, waiting on elastic to come from Amazon, and then I'm making medical masks, because I've heard that, and from friends who are nurses and doctors and, respiratory therapists, and hospitals, especially rural hospitals, need masks. We have a close friend. In fact, his wedding, we met, he married one of my best friends, and Brian and I met at their wedding. And they purposefully, they put me at his parents' table. So they purposefully made, set us up. We talked to him yesterday. He's a doctor, a GP in Greeley, Colorado. And he said at this point, they're okay in their office as far as masks go, but they're using the same mask throughout the day, which is not a great thing. And so I have hundreds of yards of quilting fabric, high quality quilting fabric that, as I said, will never get used if I live to be 200. So that's something I can do. If for you it's prayer, or good energy, good vibes, good thoughts, calling people. I want people to stop calling it social isolation, because we are social beings and that is never a good thing. It's physical isolation. And with today's technology, we don't have to be socially isolated from anybody. So, Skype and FaceTime and video conferencing and Zoom and all of those kinds of things, we can stay connected. I have an appointment tonight at 7:30 to talk to my friend Gail on FaceTime. We decided that it wasn't safe for us to get together to walk anymore. So she's doing her walking in her neighborhood, and I'm doing my walking in my neighborhood, and then we talk at the end of the day. And on Saturday we had coffee via FaceTime, and tonight we're having a glass of wine, or 5 via FaceTime. So, stay connected with people, and it is always my go-to thing to hermit up. That is my tendency. I am very much an introvert. Very much an introvert. And so I have to work really hard to make sure that I don't hermit up and don't use this as an excuse to distance myself from people. Yeah, I think, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It might be different, but it'll be okay. So, I'm going to try to film at least once a week, if not more. We'll see. I shouldn't have an excuse for not now. But the thing I'm going to be working on this week, I'm waiting on the elastic. All the squares are cut for the medical mask. They take about 5 minutes each to put together. So, I'm going to work on those as soon as the elastic comes. And then, my friend Janice owns the rug, the wool store, the rug hooking store in Valley, Nebraska. And, for independent people like her, artists and the Etsy people and those kind of people and the brick and mortar people that no longer have customers and that can't have stitch-ins and hook-ins and that sort of thing. Life is kind of tough. And so she's been showing a lot of things on Facebook, and she drew up a pattern yesterday that I absolutely fell in love with. And so my plan is she's going to, she's color planning it for me. She'll bring me the wool tomorrow and the pattern, and I'm going to try to hook it in the next week, so then we can show it on Facebook, and then if other people are interested in buying that, they can buy it. They can color plan it differently or the same, but doing it all over the phone or online, and so I'm going to try to help her out in that way. And and then keep stitching and keep baking. Today I'm making Amish cinnamon bread is my bake of the day. We'll see how that goes. Yesterday, Maddie and I made tortillas, homemade tortillas. I grew up with a mom who could not cook to save her life, but made the best homemade tortillas. And this is the first time I've ever tried it, and they weren't great. It's going to take some practice, but I'm going to keep trying because it was fun. So I wish you all well. Be good to yourselves. Be kind. Get some rest. Get some sleep. Get some stitching done. Watch a little Netflix. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.